4x4 Club Challenge is brought to you by Bridgestone South Africa. This is round 6 of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge. And this event is hosted by the McCarthy 4x4 Club. Based at the Rhino Park Centre, east of Pretoria, the club has its own 4x4 training track, as well as a more advanced mountain trail. For this competition, and with quite a few novices in the game, only the training track was used, along with about 300 of those white poles. With the customary scrutinizing of the 4x4s, sticking of stickers, and the filling in of forms done and dusted, it was time to get cracking on the 4x4 track. This is the McCarthy 4x4 Club qualifying event.
Okay, that's all right.
Our first customers for the day are Johan Swift and Dieter Skarp in their tricked-up Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This obstacle looks easy, with an angled descent, a steep and slippery ascent, and a tight turn or two. So let's see how this experienced crew handles this test. It looks so easy that Johan is doing some mouth exercises while he's driving. Amazing how some of these lads can multitask. Now the Jeep just has to get up that climb, with Johan still doing his mouth thing, but it doesn't get up. Another more speedy approach sees the Jeep Rubicon get up and over. Finally, as Dieter shows him the ideal line, Johan, with his well-exercised mouth, makes it through the obstacle.
That one was scary. I thought I'd roll there for a while. But it was awesome. It was awesome.
Next up are Yanni and Antoinette Human in a Toyota Hilux V6 double cab. After watching the super-duper Jeep on the obstacle, the Toyota crew should have picked up a few tips. When that right rear wheel goes orbital, Antoinette gets a little bit, well, worried. They make the descent and the tight turn. But now it's that climb. Oh dearie, the Toyota also grinds to a halt. The Toyota crew decide to rather take the escape on this one, since they have lost all their points already. How did that go, Yanni?
Obviously not that well. Lost all the points before we finished. But hopefully there's still 9 left, so we will see how it goes.
Here's another Hilux, and it's also a 4-litre V6, piloted by Leon Meyer and H.C. Conradi. This crew are 4x4 competition rookies, so it's a little bit of a learning curve, as Leon slides the Hilux at a rather brisk pace down that slippery slope. Now just to make about 10 turns to line up for the climb. But wait, there's a problem. The marshal informs Leon that he has effectively lost all his points, thanks to killing a few poles and stopping and reversing in the obstacle. So with no more points left in the bank, the Hilux exits the obstacle and heads off to the next one.
So I didn't know that I'm not allowed to reverse to position the car. So we'll know enough for the next time.
We join rookie competitors Leon Meyer and H.C. Conradi for Obstacle 2, where they receive a thorough briefing from the marshals and all the do's and don'ts of this test.
Go for it!
It's actually nie reg nie, maar anyway, gaat ons.
This test again sports a plethora of white poles, a steep descent, and a tricky climb at a weird angle. So the Hilux tackles the obstacle. It looks like they have enough. Oh no, they don't have enough momentum.
Wat nou?
Leon gingerly reverses the Hilux down the slope for another run.
Draai, ja. But go first. Okay.
And they're up. Leon deftly steers the Hilux through the rest of the gates. Well done, me lads. And after all that trouble, the Hilux crew at least score some points.
Yeah,
Not much,
hey.
but at least they have opened their account.
Ja, dan. Dit is Dit was net jammer vir die spitaal.
Yes.
En nou trek ek nog net oor die saai. Hey.
Oh wow, 5 punten. 5.
Anton Boerdenstein and Richard Eckstein are next in line in their Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. These Jeeps are really capable, but with a turning circle similar to an Olifant tank with the front and rear lockers engaged. Anton and Richard will have to know their stuff here. Anton clearly doesn't like these white poles and flattens one rather comprehensively, despite Richard's attempt to save it. To that big climb then. And he does a splendid job. He battles with those tight turns again and makes it up. This is the father and daughter team of Kobus and Tanel Voigt in another Toyota Hilux. This is yet another 4-litre V6, and in the cabin, Tanel has no qualms about calling the poor white poles names.
It's a really simple talkie, so.
But unfortunately, the Voigts don't get very far.
Yeah.
Met die vlok aan nie.
Geniaal.
It didn't get any better for the team, as Kobus wreaked havoc amongst the white poles.
Oh, daai nou ook.
Hy nou ook. Kan nie, hy is te skerp die draai.
Ek moet buite staan nie wees.
At least the crew does a splendid job up the steep and slippery hill.
Nee, daar ryk al wat 'n paaltjie is.
But in the end, the Voigts leave this obstacle with 0 points. At least Kobus was quietly optimistic about the turn of events so far.
2 zeros in a row is not too bad.
Time for a quick comfort break. When we return, more innocent Poles die a horrible death as the 4x4 Club Challenge competitors battle it out at the Rhino Park complex. Welcome back to the Rhino Park complex east of Pretoria. And welcome to Obstacle 3, another tight and twisty affair with loads of those irritatingly positioned white poles. This is experienced crew Sean and Lynette Krier and their kids in a Toyota Hilux 3-litre D4D. Sean is an old hand at these competitions, and between him, his wife and his kids, they're all as cool as cucumbers in the Hilux cabin.
Wat 'n rammer. Dis 25 is op die tyd touch. Ons gaan dit agter. Na jou toe, my Paul, na jou toe, na jou toe, na jou toe.
With Lynette's calm and collected assistance, the Hilux makes it through with a handful of points in the bank.
Netjies gedoen, hoor.
Henny and Stefan de Villiers are in a Toyota Fortuner with a slightly shorter wheelbase than its cousin, the Hilux. Let's see if the V6 Hilux can get some points on the board. Oh dear, that's one touch. Now the Fortuner has to reverse to make the turn. And then...
Ooh, ry pa nou sommer daar af.
Now just that last gate. Oh no, that's yet another touch. It ain't looking good so far for the de Villiers family. In the points department, that is.
Dis punte gekry.
Nee, ongelukkig nie. Daai laaste een nie geraak het nie, so
Is dit?
Dis nog nie nou vloek nie. Jy mag nie nou vloek nie.
Tinus Breitenbach and his son Neil are next, in a kitted Hilux 2.5 D4D. Tinus runs the McCarthy Club and does 4x4 training on these tracks, but the randomly placed white poles have completely changed the nature and lines of these obstacles that Tinus knows so well. He touches that bunting tape, and then...
Ry die paaltjie in sy hier so. Al twee. Die kant was het net maar ja. En ons vlot laat die bissies beheer.
This is obstacle 4, and it's even tighter than the ones before. So it's not exactly the kind of obstacle you'd want to tackle in a Jeep Wrangler with much wider than standard tyres on it. But hey, if the tyre fits. Anyway, let's see if Tinus and WJ Engelbrecht can get through here with some points in the bank. The Jeep flattens one pole, then touches another. Now it's just a tight turn and a short climb left.
Draai maken.
After reversing to get a better line, the Jeep makes it up and through the rest of the obstacle, quite successfully.
Ja, nee, meer laat jou hardloop.
On that note, let's move on to obstacle 5. This is obstacle 5, and that is Dirk van Wyk, who apparently believes one shouldn't walk the obstacle, but rather run it. Anyway, it's another twisty business between the poles, a short steep climb that is rounded off with a tight turn to the right. Dirk does a splendid job, up to that tight turn, where he has to reverse first.
Een punt hier verdienen.
Ek dink hy wel.
Ek hoop dat hy
And indeed, earning their first points of the day made Dirk quite happy.
Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad.
There you go. Enjoy the next one.
That's the best points yet. Okay.
This is Niels and Lille van Antwerpen in a Mitsubishi Pajero. And this is Trompie, the bird, who digs 4x4 driving. Let's ride with Trompie and the Van Antwerpens.
Hey, sit aan. Sit aan.
Dis aan.
Sit aan.
Vashou, tro, vashou.
Sit af.
Ons af. Vashou, trompie,
Trompie vashou. Trompie vashou. Trompie vashou. Trompie vashou. Hasse.
En dan moet jy seker stop.
Well done, Niels and Lille and Trompie for holding on there. Every event has one obstacle that gets the adrenaline pumping in great proportion. Obstacle 6 was that obstacle on this event, as Jacques and Tesna Klaassen demonstrate here in their Toyota Hilux. It starts with a steep climb, followed by a tricky descent through some ruts, and a very tight and hairy turn at a rather uncomfortable angle. To round it off, there's a short but still tricky climb through a last gate. It seems as if Jacques has something against the poor innocent Poles.
Wat 'n bokkie. Bokkies, bokkies, bokkies.
Our next customers are Andre Buerta and Skolt Crowther in a Jeep TJ. Andre looks as focused as a government official focusing on the clock when lunchtime draws near. And oh no, they don't make it up the first climb.
Bietjie meer momentum kry. Ja.
The second run sees them scale the hill. But now it's that tight right-hander over the heavy rut that causes wheels to clock some airtime. Tenaciously, Andre keeps his foot on the gas. Finally, the Jeep makes it through. But oh dear, with all the stops and spinning, the team bags a total of 0 points for the obstacle.
Nee, die lokkers nie. Yes.
Peter and Vanessa Kriel are our first customers at Obstacle 7. And just like the obstacles before it, there's another very narrow test with some descents, climbs, and a tight turn or two. Peter and Vanessa do a good job here, but unfortunately, they lose some points after touching a pole with the Toyota Hilux's mirror. Raymond and Zulie's Kriya, in a shiny new Toyota Fortuner, tackle the obstacle next. Interestingly, it seems as this crew has worked out a highly scientific driver guidance system, as Zulie's uses her right hand to guide husband Raymond quite successfully through the obstacle. Just watch, it really is quite effective. This is Dirk Turon, and he's driving a Toyota FJ Cruiser. His co-driver is Salo de Swart, who will be guiding the cruiser from the outside. Cruiser fan Dirk seems to be having a conversation all by himself.
Take it easy.
So let's ride with Dirk.
Okay, slow. Okay, fantastic. FJ is king.
Following the same modus operandi as the rest of the obstacles, Obstacle 8 features more very narrow gates, a steep and rutted climb, a very tight turn, and a steep climb with a sharp crest, as Willem and Michelle de Lange demonstrate in their quintessential Toyota Hilux bakkie. Was that actually our first full mark score of the day? Ach no, apparently not. They touched one pole, so that's 25 points lost.
Better than the zero.
Yeah,
I didn't see a pole. Which one is that?
No, a bad pole. You just nicked it on the back wheel.
Time to head to the shops again. When we return, the going is still rather slippery at the McCarthy 4x4 club track. See you in a minute. This is Corne van der Merwe, and he looks suitably determined to score 100 points at Obstacle 9, which, not surprisingly, features another steep and rutted climb through them narrow gates, along with some sandy side slopes. The Rubicon, with its very low gear ratios, idles through it all, as co-driver Freddie Siebert gives directions. But at the last tight corner, the Jeep's turning circle comes into play, and Corne has to take a rollback to make the turn. But unfortunately, he's clipped several poles along the way, leaving him slightly bemused at the fact that he hardly scored any points. Next are Sean Niemand and Johan van Niekerk. Johan is sporting a very trendy pair of bright orange gloves, so that Sean, in the Jeep, won't miss any signals. Let's see how well it works for them. So far, so good. But oh no, that tight turn also catches out the Jeep TJ. And then Sean connects the last pole on the way out. That didn't go extremely well. This is Obstacle 10, and it's got the added bonus of 100 bonus points. Here are Dirk Turon and Salo de Swart, again in the FJ Cruiser. Here the teams first have to conquer a tricky rutted turn and hit the tyre on the ground only with their back wheel. Then they continue over some relatively easy terrain to the bonus part. Here the driver has to amble the 4x4 up a slippery slope and stop just in time to touch one of the poles, but not both.
Easy does it, boy. Easy does it.
Up to 100 bonus points are up for grabs here, depending on how accurately the driver stops his or her 4x4. Dirk and Salo score 50 bonus points. Meanwhile, Dirk is still talking to himself.
Well done, Boykie. At last, awesome at last.
This is the Suzuki Jimny of Mitch Viljoen and Letitia du Toit. The little Susie is stock standard, so it doesn't have a front or rear differential locker. And so, on that first turn, on top of the rut, the Jimny runs out of traction.
Lunch!
After several attempts, Mitch makes it up and over the hump. Now it's bonus points time. But oh dear, Mitch overcooks it ever so slightly, hits the pole, which in turn gives poor Letitia a bit of a whack on the head. Let's watch that again, in slow motion. Hit, hit, and well, headache. So that didn't work out so well for the Suzuki team.
20.
And here are the last customers of the day. It's Danny Daniels and Chart Skiepers in a Jeep Grand Cherokee. They dispatch the cross-axle business in a perfect manner. They get the timing on top of the hill just right. And they miss all the poles on the way out again. That's a perfect result and 200 points in the bank. And on that jovial note, it's the end of the action and time to head to the McCarthy 4x4 Club Centre, where the braai fires are in full swing as the competitors wait with bated breath for the results. But before we get to those winners, here's a recap of the prizes that are up for grabs. The 3 podium finishers respectively get a R10,000 gift voucher from Bridgestone, a set of Light Force spotlights from Opposite Lock, and a hand winch, also courtesy of Opposite Lock. An environmental prize to the value of R2,000 goes to the most environmentally friendly team. The overall winner of the challenge will drive off with a Conqueror off-road trailer to the value of R50,000, while the runners-up will receive a fully adjustable Tough Dog suspension worth R20,000 from Opposite Lock. In third place, despite that whack on the head, were Mitch Viljoen and Letitia du Toit. In second place, another Suzuki Jimny, piloted by Raymond and Anel Martin. But taking the honours overall, and no doubt helped in their cause by that 200 points on the last obstacle, were Danny Daniels and Chart Skiepers in the Jeep Grand Cherokee, who win a R10,000 tyre voucher from Bridgestone. Well done, lads. Next week we head to Lichtenberg in the Northwest Province, where the obstacles are bigger, more intimidating, and more slippery than on any other event this year. Catch all the action next week. Till then. The 4x4 Club Challenge was brought to you by Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion.